Take your time.
Silence. Ring, 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 hero, simps, and virgins.
Hey, hold on. There was a comment in the Discord saying, no more virgin talk. I've been fucked too often by this market.
And virgins.
Respectful.
And welcome back to Krown's magical tips and cave.
Well. Welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a bad hair day plus some glasses on as well, and we got plenty to talk about because today is going to be another event-driven day. It does seem like, as the good old news headlines coming into this morning is Biden preparing an executive order for crypto, and it's for your safety. That's exactly right, baby. It's for your fucking safety because we need to be kept safe from this market. Everyone's getting nailed left, right, and center, just like you're getting nailed in the fucking traditional markets as well. Just like you get nailed in gambling casinos across Las Vegas as well. But make no mistake about it, Biden is here to save everyone with his beautiful executive order. Who knows what the fuck that means? Hopefully, it is going to be something of some small meaning here as we get through the day. So with an event like this coming into the periphery, it does need to be once again kind of reiterated the same sort of stance that I had on Wednesday coming into the FOMC meeting. When there's an event where you do not necessarily have any indication of what the resolution will be, in my experience, it is best to step back, not have any big positions going into that event, and then taking the easy trade afterwards. I'm sure a lot of the people, myself included, who waited for that FOMC meeting the other day, you had a pretty easy trade on actually both sides of the short-term time frame range, which, you know, a short-term time frame range nowadays is like $3,000, which is fucking insane. So with that in mind, a little bit of patience here does go a long way. Who knows what the hell they're going to come out with? Might be good, might be bad. Right now, the market is looking like it does want to trade a little bit higher. So the market is very similar to Wednesday, going through this motion where you see this rally, maybe a bit of short covering rally. Who knows what the hell is actually, who knows, nor who cares what's actually going on right there, but price action going up a little bit right now. And if that event does obviously have a negative resolution, I guess, where I suppose like a negative resolution would be, I don't know, we're shutting it down. Probably not going to shut it down, but something of that nature. Obviously that's going to be interpreted negatively by the market. By the same token, if it ain't that bad, if it's more or less just kind of like par for the course and all of this is a bit of grandstanding going into an event like this, then perhaps it will actually be a little bit of a rally based off the back of that. Here's the thing though, at the end of the day, there is no way for me to actually know the insights of an event like that, nor do I imagine anyone else, unless you are a government insider or maybe a Biden insider. Who knows if maybe we have some sort of those people watching. Fair enough. I have very high expectations of our community here, but you know what? If you do, let me know. No, don't let me know. I want to guess. And of course, the realistic interpretation of this is, hey, when you don't know what's going to actually happen, it's best, at least in my experience, not to have any exposure going into an event like this and then look for the easy trade afterwards. Now, we can go over the higher term time frame ranges here because there likely is going to be an easy trade around that, very similar to Wednesday, but I want to step back from making, essentially predictions going into something like this because it just, something like this, an external event can really throw spanners into the work, and it's not good trading in my experience. Anyways, I see a shit ton of people in here right now for a rather slow Friday. Already 1,000 people watching, 208 likes on this video. We're trending down just like the market, but what can you expect, man? It is what it is. Anyways, I see we got our lovely moderator crew in here. Elsa, we got Nikki Page. Oh, I need to give a major shout out. Holy fucking moly, man. Major shout out to Mr. Crypto African Warlord, our beautiful moderator right here. I have received one of the most precious gifts I've received in my life. It is a ring. You can't see it, unfortunately. You can't see it very well, but it's actually a ring with my logo on it, and we got some rhino action here as well. We got some rhino action. You see this? It's a nice little... Oh, what's going on right there? It's now done in idealistic format. Amazing, just fucking amazing. And it's actually hand carved, and this is really truly incredible. I'm actually totally blown away by it, man. It's just small things that you don't really expect. Just, I don't know, they really go a long way, and for me, that was super fucking cool. I see that the likes just went up by 50%. That's insane. Well, thank you for that. Very generous. Now we got over 1,000 people watching as well, and we'll probably need a little bit of preparation for today. Anyways, I see Chuncho. He says, Moika. Yes, Moika indeed, sir. When I first came to Finland, I didn't know what Moika was. I thought Moi and Moika were like two different things, but they're not, apparently. Whatever it was. It was rather confusing for me. Anyways. Harish divergence. Yeah, man. There you go, Mr. Metalhead. I see. Who else do we have in here? GMAD Johnny. He says, "Is this a fake pump?" I mean, there's no such thing as a fake pump. If price action goes up, price action goes up. But I think what you're probably mean is that when you see price action kind of float up and into an event like this, yeah, it typically does make it a lot easier to slam it back down in front of your very face. Kobitz, I see you over there. Willis, good morning to you as well. Bedhead Trades, that's exactly me actually. Good morning to you. Crypto the Kid. Anyone from Park City? Is that in LA? Actually, I think that sounds like LA. Hey, what's up, Will Charles? Good to see you as well, man. I haven't seen you here in a few days. It does look like Useless. What's up, brother? I haven't seen your name here. I'm buying your shorts and dips. Fair enough. All right. Didn't know, but cool. Anyways, Frivolous 2717. What's up, man? EP Lillian H. Good morning to everyone right now. Hope everyone's having a nice little start to your Friday morning over here. Of course, doesn't mean shit because you will be very likely watching this market over the weekend, as will I, because, well, we're fucking crypto addicts, I guess, at this point. And caffeine addicts as well, as I take a little bit of a sippy sip on this. Oh, very nice, actually. Very, very nice today. Mark B, Mr. Plum says, Park City, Utah. I nailed a Mormon there. This is not the type of channel for that, Mr. Plums. Neil, good morning to you as well, man. Wally, no, I see you over there. Muddy Funster, what's up, brother? And Gohan's mom, I recognize all of these names. Beautiful, just fucking beautiful. Greetings from the UK, says Dean H. Greetings from the Finland as well. And Captain Ahab, hey, nice name, man. What is that from? And Rocky G, there he is, another lovely moderator in the house right now. So I'm just kind of perusing around here. I want to make sure that I get this video proper because I want this to be kind of a bit of a guide going into today's event. I actually don't necessarily know if the event itself will be, I guess, done today. I want to bring up what I was looking at over here. I know that it can't be too far away. It's probably on this guy's Twitter, so I can just show what I'm talking about actually. All right, it must be documenting Bitcoin. There we go. Nice little account to be following. And where is he? Where is that damn tweet? This guy tweets too much. This is what's happening here. Holy shit. That's rather interesting. This guy actually has a rather interesting Twitter right here. I'm just shilling his Twitter. I don't even fucking know him, but he's good. San Diego State University is accepting Bitcoin donations in Wahadal. That's kind of insane. I actually wanted to go there when I was at the college age years ago. The Texas Bitcoin Foundation has been founded. What the hell, man? There's all sorts of crazy things going on right here. Where the hell is this damn thing? Where the fuck is this thing? I know for a fact I saw this morning. I know for a damn fact. Where the hell could this possibly be? Where has it gone? Please find it. Please, God damn it, man. Oh, Kathy Wood's at it again. Bitcoin gonna go to a 1 million, man. She just needs an O face and she fits right on in with this whole damn thing. Apparently I can't find it, I guess. So that's that, I guess. So apologies on that. I guess a bit of wasted time right there. More time to sip on some coffee as well, but God, man, what you know what I hate about Twitter is that you get to see posts from people that you don't follow. Just because like someone liked it. I fucking hate I don't need to know about this from crypto banter. I'm not interested, like, for the love of fucking God. This over here, not fucking interested in this. What the actual hell, man? Spot VTF rejected. What is this a surprise? Is this a fucking surprise? Here we go. Okay, I found it. All right, so here's a Twitter account actually reporting on it. Biden administration is preparing an executive action to regulate digital assets such as Bitcoin as a matter of national security, Barron's reports. Barron's is actually a rather respectable publication for what it's worth, and so this can be trusted. And what this looks like to me, actually, I should give my take on this once we actually start recording. So let me finish a little bit more of this coffee right here. It's a rather big cup this morning, actually. Seeing Fed for this executive order maybe next week. Yeah, funnily enough, now that I recognize it, we quite literally are pretty much at the end of the month already. There is really only 2 trading days in the month left, 2 real trading days left. That's going to be today and Monday, obviously. And then after that, it's all done. And then we're actually going to Dubai on the 2nd or 3rd, something like that. Hey, what's up, Mr. Mournfall? There's our lovely developer, the man of the fucking hour, putting everything together. I think even we have an update coming relatively soon, but I probably shouldn't talk about that until we're fully confirmed right there. But overall, man, he is the brains. He is the mega brains behind the app. And then we also have our designer as well, of course. And then we got Mr. Caretaker joining the team here too. But he's responsible for a lot of the magic that you see over there. Anyways, I think another 6-month bear market, says GMAD. Yeah, we can kind of talk about that, I suppose. People want to talk about 1 million Bitcoin. I mean, maybe over a long enough time horizon, Bitcoin does hit those numbers, but that probably is more indicative of some really severe issues going on around the globe rather than Bitcoin just being bid up all the way to $1 million. It probably is going to be a signal of some very, very poor or very bad financial times. All right, cool. Let's get into Bitcoin for the day. This news piece coming out in the early morning hours that Biden administration is preparing an executive action to regulate digital assets such as Bitcoin as a matter of national security, Barron's reports. Now, Barron's is a financial newspaper. They're actually rather trusted, one publication that actually happen to give a fuck about myself. But more importantly with this is rather interesting here because right now the market is, showing like we're going to have a little bit of a short-term rally, which is fine. Anyways, when this executive order does drop, the expectation going into it versus what actually is decided, what actually comes about of this is going to be the driver for that event. So basically, we don't really have much to go off of, actually. It just sounds like they're going to be regulating digital assets. We already expect that. So I look at this long term as actually a good thing. The reason why I look at it long term as a good thing is because it provides clarity for a very unclear subject right now with regards to how, accounting, how taxes, how all of the, moving parts within the crypto sphere are operating right now. And that will actually allow, likely at some point in time, a spot ETF to actually be accepted. For right now, I don't think that any of the ones being reported on in like the next few months here have any chance of getting accepted. Perhaps later this year, I do think is will have a chance. But for right now, and from what I understand from the people who I really look to trust in their analysis of these sort of more ephemeral events, is the purpose of this year and the purpose of last year in a lot of ways was to wash out and clear the way, pave the way for a more regulated crypto space. And what does that essentially look like? That essentially looks like taking out and essentially, getting rid of these 100x Wild West exchanges. I do believe that the crypto exchanges, that are offering up these insane amounts of leverage with, basically no KYC, are probably, their days are probably numbered. And that likely leads up towards a more legitimized space as the infrastructure gets built around the sort of rails, in the crypto sphere. So at some point, yes, I do think that a spot ETF will be accepted. This to me looks like it is legitimizing things. Obviously, if it was, not going to be that, if it was just going to be a straight up ban or something like that, which it sounds very unlikely that it is not, then that would, that essentially is, you don't regulate something that you would ban, right? That you're not going to use. So I do think that is a more long-term encouraging thing. Short-term, does it provide a little bit of downside volatility? Perhaps yes, but we'll go into the chart soon enough to kind of document that. Of course, that's my good old place right there to shill Bybit. Hey, go get wrecked on fucking Bybit. It's not going to be around for too much longer. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job of representing them, but sorry Bybit if you're listening, but yeah, look, if you're not an experienced trader, if you don't have winning strategies, or if you haven't been winning with your strategies, it's very unwise to be going off to any leverage exchange, whether it be Bybit, FIMEX, FTX, whatever the fuck, and basically gambling there essentially. So, realistically, unless you already have a good amount of successful history, trading, then it's really unwise to be doing that sort of a thing. I would not suggest it. 80% of traders never have a long-term win, net win. And so, understand that unless if you actually gone through the whole rigmarole of back testing your strategies and getting the forward testing as well alongside a small dollar live account, with results that you are, happy with, then it's probably not just happened by magic by going onto a fucking leverage exchange and punting 100x, because that is very unwise in my experience. Anyways, let's get started off right here with Bitcoin. Let's actually go over the short and medium term time frame ranges first, because again, when we do have an event like this, I do like to play on the peripheries just for the easy trade essentially. So I'm going to get rid of the very short term time frame stuff right there, because that is not relevant. Actually, I want to focus on the 4 hour. 4 hour range is actually very much unchanged from yesterday to today, and actually the few days prior. A high of about $39,000 on a 4-hour closing basis versus a low of about 34,500 essentially on a 4-hour closing basis as well. As long as Bitcoin's kind of oscillated within here, nothing's really actually changed. Bitcoin's still maintaining a bit of a downtrend on medium and higher term timeframes, but you do see that the very short term timeframes are suggesting a potential reversal right here. But that will not be confirmed at all whatsoever, not even close. This is all hoping that I'm talking about right now to the upside until Bitcoin gets back above what would have been that last rejective lower high right here at about $39,000. Technically a little bit lower than that on a 4-hour closing basis, but close enough is close enough. More importantly, if that were to happen, you would have your first higher low right here. Obviously that would be your higher high. You got a nice reversal after that, and Bitcoin very likely does play back up towards the next major region, of which we can pull up our fibs over here, which would be somewhere around the 382 Fibonacci retracement at about $40,000 territory for the next sort of daily area to be aware of. However, longer term, perhaps coming into February in this case, I would be looking for moves upon validation above that region to the 0.5, somewhere between actually the 0.5 and the 618, which could be as far as $48,000 and as low as about $44,000. Again, all hinges upon the validation of that area right there beforehand. And of course, if we go into the short-term timeframes like this on the hourly, it would be wise to mark off the actual low from yesterday. In fact, about 35,500 or so. If Bitcoin does start to break below there on an hourly, I would be looking for one more run around the lows, that being between about 34 to 34,500. But I do not actually get bearish on Bitcoin for continuation first before a bounce. We can talk about the more long-term of that later, because yes, there is still long-term bearishness here. We are still looking at a long-term downtrend, obviously. But for right now, it is looking like Bitcoin probably does bounce out of this range first before playing out any further downside, if it's going to play out any further downside at all. What I want to reference now is I want to go back on over here into the Krown trading application, and I want to reference the global open interest. This is still in more of a pairs area right here. We have seen a nice reset on this. Anytime that it has gotten above about 13 billion, we have seen about a 20 to 25% correction minimum, and at maximum, well, thus far, a 50% correction or so. And what's relevant about this is that on the last rally up to $52,000 in early December, actually later December in this case, we did see it once again get actually just above 13 billion, closer to 14 billion in this case. So we are seeing it once again crater down. And realistically, I want to see this reset somewhere between our summer lows and our September lows right here. That being between about 8.5 billion or 5.25 billion. I actually have a nice alert for this if I go into my alerts over here, which you can do as well for free. Hey, god damn it, I don't want that right now. There we go. And you can see that I have it. I have an alert set for when it goes under 9 billion and also when it goes under 8 billion. Just want to have a bit of an earlier sort of alert on that factor. This is more for the long term, so I really wouldn't be entertaining the possibility of a macro low being in until we see that really crater down a little bit more. That can come multiple ways, however. That can come, one, from longs getting wrecked, which longs have been getting wrecked for the last 2.5 months straight. I think that they've been wrecked enough. What's more likely to happen right here is actually shorts closing and springing upon that next rally. And then the question is, does Bitcoin put in a major lower high on the weekly in that bull trappy area? If we go back to our charts over here, which would be on the weekly and daily schedule between about the 0.5 and the 618. That is my traditional, or not my traditional, that is the traditional bull trappy-ish region off of a early reversal in this case for the weekly. So what am I talking about right now? Basically, Bitcoin got its first lower low on the weekly compared to its September $40,000 low right here since like the last few years. I mean, it's basically been a straight up trend. I mean, we did actually have a very, very slight lower low right here, but of course we did not have the lower high to follow that. Anyways, after you get the lower low, obviously you're likely to have a bit of a rally regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. And then the question is, does that rally create a lower high, in this case on the weekly, or does it bust on through? In this case, that would be like all clear above about $49,000 or $50,000, let's say. So this next move that we're probably looking for in February in this case, assuming that Bitcoin does bust on through the short-term, medium-term time, actually more like medium-term time frame range highs in this case, maybe does something like this and then pops up. The question is, once it gets into this region right here, whether it be 44 or maybe even as much as $48,000, what happens after that? Very likely going to see some weakness. And then the question is, does the weekly set in a higher low somewhere just above $40,000? If so, beautiful, amazing. There's your fucking all bula muna again, and we could start to talk about $60,000 plus and all that good stuff. The doomium, however, and what is technically more likely right now actually as well, is that Bitcoin rejects right there or somewhere around that region and then plops back down, specifically the $40,000 level, that 382 fib right there. And then at that point, really have to be looking for at minimum another run somewhere between about the 29 to 31, or sorry, more like $29,000 to $32,000 blue box right here. And if that area does break over time, which I do not think it would break on the next test down, to be quite honest with you, if it is going to break, I think it's going to be, a very long time doing something like this, actually, where blah, 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 and then maybe like later this year or early next year, it does break down somewhere around about $25,000. But that would be sort of my criteria for that. Anyways, I do want to go over the reasons why I do think that Bitcoin, if again, independent of the event, which the event is going to supersede everything that I say here. So please understand that technical analysis does take not even a back seat, but it's not even on the fucking bus. It's not even on the fucking bus right now. And I very carefully mention bust because we've had some issues with that term in the past. Anyways, sorry. Look, just trying to make an analogy here. That's all. Anyways, technical analysis takes, it's not even in the fucking lexicon when you are having a big event driven sort of move. Anyways, in this case, I do want to support some reasons why I think that this is somewhat relevant, or at least why the short term is a little bit more respectful of the high, and give a few sort of counterpoints to this as well, in some validation and invalidation regions, actually. And first and foremost, or I wouldn't say it's foremost, but first, we do have the daily stochastic momentum right here. That is heading up from some pretty critical regions, to be fair. Now, volatility is already kind of high, so this is not like a perfect signal or anything like that. It does align with, however, the narrative of a bounce, but this would be a corrective bounce, actually, is what that would suggest. If we go over here to the 2-day, this one is also going to be freshly crossing to the upside with any sort of a closure today above 36,450. Bitcoin currently trading almost $1,000 above that right now, and you can see that that is, yes, closing today. Sorry, I forgot to mention the daily area, which is just below 35,000 bucks. The 5-day, and what I really put a lot of weight on right here, is actually going to flip up for the first time since the October rally, actually, to our all-time highs. In this case, at $69,000, great number right there, will officially cross the upside for the first time, basically in like the last 4 or 5 months, with any sort of a closure above $35,000. Now, this is not closing today, so this is not relevant for today. It will close, I believe, on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, alongside the weekly as well. If that does happen, I just want to pull the last few times that we have seen it cross to the upside from around this region in the past. I have a nice little green horizontal bar right here. The last time that we saw it actually hit this region was December 2018, and that, of course, was your macro cycle lows of 3,100 from years ago. Now, things did take a long time after that, a very long time after that to get going. In fact, even retesting it right around here again. But ultimately, that was the major macro low in that cycle. And of course, the time before that we actually saw it come all the way down around there was October 2014 and December 2014 as well. Now, these ones are a little bit more obscure in the sense that the first one in October 2014 did produce a nice rally. And this was within the context of a pretty nasty downtrend. And that was a corrective move. And it was a corrective move that from wick to wick in this case went up 72%. Now, it was, of course, still holding the downtrend. That would be sort of the more bearish take on this, kind of what we're looking at right here. And then over the next few months, you see a rally up somewhere into the mid, maybe even upper $40,000 territory, and then slam it back down to slightly new lows in this case. The other stab that we have down around here was the actual macro cycle low of that cycle in 2014, 2015. Other than that, we have one other iteration, which is way back on over here in October 2011, and that was your cycle lows, of course, at the very genesis of Bitcoin, essentially. So I do think that holds a bit of weight, especially alongside the other indications that we are seeing. For at least a bounce first, the question is, does a bounce maintain above those critical numbers or not? Until that happens, everything that I talked about to long-term upside is hopium. It is not the most relevant or relatable thing to be happening, and it should be known that higher term timeframes like the monthly, which are going to be closing in the next few days here, are, well, not fucking bullish. How about that? So here's the thing. I want to bring you up to where we're at right now. Now, Bitcoin is bounced off the 20 simple. That's the white moving average right here, which is, which is a nice bouncy area. And we have seen that and we have seen that play as a nice support on the macro plenty of times in the past. But here's where it gets a little bit more, well, I guess nasty, I suppose, if you want to be a long-term boolah, at least for right now. We do have a monthly MACD crossing to the downside for the first time, basically since January of 2020, which was 2 months before, or sorry, it was actually February 2020, which was 1 month before the old flu dump. And the time before that we saw it actually cross down was back on over here in June 2018. That was obviously coming off of the 20 simple again. By the way, both of these iterations actually coming off the 20 simple. Let me just highlight this one for you as well. Basically right here, again, bounce up the 20 simple, boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and then go fuck yourself all the way to the downside. And then same thing back on over here as well into August 2014, bounced off the 20 simple, a couple months to kind of oscillating around there, and then go fuck yourself to the downside for a big bad move. By the way, all of these corrections, if you want to call them that, maybe a better word is crash, did come down to the green 55 exponential moving average on the monthly, which is currently trading just above $22,000, or in the mid, like let's say 22,400 or so. It's going to be rising with each and every passing month, and I do look at that as likely the worst case scenario, assuming that Bitcoin, initiates a long-term downside, if that even happens to begin with. On top of that, we can take that one step further with the PMAR right here. We have seen several times that it has crossed the moving average on this, the red versus the white, essentially, both to the upside and the downside. Those have essentially indicated, well, macro shifts in directions as well, alongside that MACD cross, both to the upside and the downside here too. So these have really, really good history with each other. Not too many iterations, to be fair, but I do think that that is worth knowing right now, because as long as Bitcoin is again below, let's just call it $49,000, bounces up to that region, which would be about more than a $10,000 move, would still be considered corrective on the macro right here. So please do understand that. Please do understand, the conditions for validations right now for the time being on the short-term timeframes. If we just ignore that event again, which is going to supersede what I say right here, Bitcoin is looking like it wants to give another try back up towards $39,000. And if we look at our momentum oscillators on the higher term timeframes, I do think that that aligns with that narrative as well. And if we do go over here into the short term time frame momentum oscillators from a stochastic perspective, we can see that full hour stochastic are heading up as long as we're above 36,500, which we are currently about $1,000 above right now. 6 hour is... 6 hour actually really, really like, is going to head up above 37,340, which is closing when in, it's going to be another 5.5 hours basically. So not anytime soon. 3 hours obviously going to be already up as well, I imagine. Yes, indeed. 36,500, and hourly is, I'm going to guess up as well. A little bit more critical right there, but $37,000 to maintain current momentum. So overall, I do think that Bitcoin has a chance here. I'd still be looking at this area just around, it's technically just above $39,000. If I'm using an hourly closure, I'd be about $39,350 for continuation to just above $40,000. If I'm using a full hour closure, I'd say just above about $39,000 would probably do, or sorry, just at about $39,000 would probably do it for me as well for calling a bit of a short-term range resolution. If I'm looking at, or sorry, medium-term range resolution, if I'm looking at the short term, I'd be using yesterday's spike low, 35,550 for continuation, not to new lows just yet, but just to move back down somewhere around 34 to 34,500. I am not bearish for any new lows as long as Bitcoin is above 34,500 on a medium or higher term time frame closure or closing basis in this case. I do think that what is more likely is that we see a bounce up and out of this range, as we did say coming into this week and the last few days, after a bit of a swipe of the lows yesterday, which we did get on Bitcoin, but more so on some of our other assets that we were looking at, like Ethereum, for example. And now probably, what's a little more likely is a bit of a bounce. And then the question is, where do things land? Probably around mid to end of February right here. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful with Bitcoin. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful with Bitcoin. Maybe we check out some indicators over here as well. I don't really see anything that's too interesting on the hourly. I mean, it is just showing some short-term upside. Full hour, same thing as well. Not anything too interesting right there. Daily Jewel Light is actually still showing some upside momentum. Here's the thing though, this is not like a reversal signal in my experience, because volatility is already rather high right here. So when you do look at it from that perspective, again, it does align more likely with the corrective bounce, which corrective within the current context of the trend is, well, more downside long term. But for right now, can that bring things up, back up to like 40,000, maybe even all the way up to 44,000? Yeah, definitely possible. And I should also talk about what would be required for a $44,000 move. I just want to see a daily closure above about 39. Probably 39 would do it for me. Or sorry, hold on. Where's the 382? Sorry, the 382 is at $40,000. How do I keep on getting mixed up with that number? Jesus Christ, man. Anyways, yeah, I think that does it for Bitcoin right there. Just kind of cruising around the different timeframes as I haven't done my early morning perusal here just yet. Yeah, looking at the weekly right now as well, which, by the way, CME will be closing today at 5 p.m. Standard Time. This is more of a bouncy area right here after the full-on collapse of this price action for the last 2.5 months without any real bounces in between. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Bitcoin. Please recognize the areas for validations and invalidations, and what I would, in the areas where I kind of think that there's a little more of an easier trade just based off of the higher term time frame edge. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go, sirs and zers. Nice. All right, I am going to take another sippy sip of this. Nice. All right, there we go. All right, let me just read through some of these comments right now. Damn, I did 50x leverage. You're better off going to Vegas, man. Do you mind clarifying your short, medium, and high term timeframes? Yeah, absolutely. So, these are always going to be personalized things, right? To someone like an hourly might be a high term time frame because they're usually focusing on a 5 minute. So within the context of these streams, I consider 4 hours, 4 hour time frame and low term time frames. The time frames between about 4 hours and the daily are my medium term time frames, and then above a daily are my higher term time frames. My macro time frames are specifically 5-day and above, if that makes sense. So there's no like dictionary definition for these sorts of things. It is personalized, but that's the way that I define them within the context of these streams. Is how I'd say that. All right, cool. Let's see. All right, let me plop down the chats over here. I still got a little bit of coffee left right now, and I feel burp coming up. I see Elio's messaged me. What's up, Mr. Elio? Much love to you, good sir. Anyways, Mr. Ahmad is first. Hold on. Whoa! Ho ho ho! Nice one, man. Wake the fuck up, everyone. It's a lovely Friday morning. It snows everywhere on the ground, and I'm slipping and sliding on this whole damn town. It's actually impossible. Like, I think back to the times before modern humanity. Like, how did people walk around and get around when it was just snowy outside? It's like, it's just like nature saying, go fuck yourself. Good luck walking around today, fuckface. So fair enough. All right, let's see. So Ahmed is first, says, could you please check out, oh, God damn it, SHIB. For fuck's sake, man. The first one of the day, and you want to look at shitty SHIB. Shitty SHIB. We got shitty charts over here. We got shitty SHIB. Coinbase, maybe? Well, still looks like absolute dog shit, but are we getting ready for a bouncy bounce first? Probably yes. This thing can bounce up all the way to 3,000, and it would mean absolutely nothing, in my opinion, for the long-term trend. That would just be another great area to probably not get short on, because you can't short this thing, but this is... All right, let's see your actual analysis here. I mean, you do have 1, 2, 3 higher lows going on right now. You got the same highs coming in right here. I already have this one charted out. So I guess the hopium, if you want, which I don't feel very comfortable giving on an asset like this, but the hopium is that if you do see a 4-hour closure above about 2350 in this case, I would say that would be a medium term 4-hour range resolution in this case, with a targeted region somewhere back up around about 2,800, maybe even as much as 3,000 or so. Again, I do think that's kind of best case scenario to the upside. I'm still looking for essentially the long-term trend continuation here. I don't really see any real reason why this one's going to be done here. It's never really even known what a rally, like a long-term rally is. It's just knowing what a parabolic blow off top is in the context of a market that is going to the moon and beyond. So with that in mind, I don't really see any real reason to get bullish on this thing long-term, as long as you're below about 3,900, this sort of range highs right here. Until then, all bounces are corrective and probably looking for more long-term downside. To be quite honest with you, I think best case scenario from right here is something like this, where you come in, maybe trade sideways for a while and then come back down. But I would not call for the continuation to the downside with in this case, I guess, targets all the way towards like 1,700 or so, until you do see a break of your current range lows. In this case, that's going to be about, hey, what the fuck? It's going to be about 1,850 or so. And is that the right area to be looking at? Sorry, the target would not be 1,700. Jesus Christ, man, I'm way off right there. It would be more like, let me just mark this area off so I can have a better way of looking at it. Somewhere more around like 1,200 to 1,300 or so, which is where I do think that this one is kind of headed more long term. But short term, is it more bouncy? Well, if Bitcoin does bounce, aka the general market bounces, you're probably going to see this thing bounce as well. And yeah, it can bounce rather hard. I mean, that is a rather big move. So yeah, that'd be 20% move if it does validate above that region. So fair enough, man. On SHIB, it's probably easier to watch the rest of the market as usual, but you can kind of see that going in right there. I'm curious to see if there's any like obvious signals over here. Not really getting anything that's like super compelling. Not really on the daily as well. Yeah, kind of the same thing as Bitcoin right there. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for SHIB, sir. Let's see. Gurnell says, I wanted to say thank you. I found your channel because I saw a few people recommend your beginning series. That's cool, man. Thank you. Your daily podcast and the Krown. Man, I'm really happy to hear that, man. I'm really happy to hear that. I always have to give kudos to my team as well, because they are responsible for the website, mostly not me. Although it does have a few of my, suggestions, but But I really do appreciate those sentiments, man, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So thank you for that. And well, I guess there's no question that accompanies that. So it's just a nice positive message. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. And you know, if by the way, if you have any ideas of things that you'd like to see on the app, you know, let us know. We're very compelled to be listening to people because, well, we want to make it like the best possible for everyone. And you know, it's, well, we, you know, if we can add something, we will very likely do it, assuming that it does have, you know, value, of course, and it doesn't cost us like a you know, a shit ton of money, because right now running all this data is, you know, it definitely does cost, but we're happy to be doing it. Rebel Dia 33 says, holy shit. Hey, what's up, man? Cadena, oh fuck my Angus. Man, it's like we start off with SHIB coin and then we go to Cadena, man. All right, same thing as Bitcoin. Short term showing a little bit more signals of a bouncy bounce right here. I would not call a range resolution, however. Yeah, we have the same chart from yesterday. As long as you're below about what it's basically 646, 650 or so. If you do see a 4-hour closure above there, which, you know, you are getting some indications here that it's, you know, it's going to try a little bit of short term upside, then I would extend targets significantly somewhere around your 8.25, maybe as much as $9 region. You're also looking at a daily as well. Yeah, again, I do think more, you know, most of this market is positioned to bounce where it currently is right now. Even if it does imply long-term further downside, you know, most of this market is probably ready for a bounce. So if it does resolve that 4-hour range highs, I'd be looking basically around somewhere between about $8 and $9 over time. Now, long-term, do I like this chart? No. Charts that do this is usually not a great sign, but it is in a more bouncy area right here. You got your weekly under 55. So I'd be looking for it to kind of play between about $9.50 and where you're at right now at about $5.50 for the next, you know, probably month or so. Looking at a 4 right here, it's more likely to bounce from this region. Where would I say that idea or that sort of setup does get invalidated? Well, first off, it hasn't been validated, but it certainly gets invalidated and validates some downside targets with any sort of a 4-hour closure below about 5.25. Below 5.25, I look for a retest of your $4.50 lows, and then a daily closure below your 450 prior low. Wick low, and I'll be looking for big moves down towards $2.50 and $1.50, which is where I actually do think that this one will find itself, you know, in like the next half year to a year. But short term, a little bit more bouncy in this case, as you do work off of extreme conditions to the downside thus far. So very similar to Bitcoin in that case. And I'm going to polish off the rest of this coffee right here. I see, holy fucking moly, man. We got 2,000 people watching as well. 816 likes on the video. Beautiful, man. Just absolutely beautiful. It's a slow day and people still tuning in. This is great. Feltima says, sup, Krown? What's up, man? If Biden pumps the markets, will you get a hair transplant? I need it, man. I fucking need it. If Biden pumps the markets. Yeah, man. I don't know. I actually don't really care too much about my hair, regardless of all the work that I have done on it, man. But yeah, maybe I'll consider getting a tattoo, like a Bitcoin tattoo or something, some bullshit like that. Yeah, a SHIB tattoo. How about this? If SHIB closes a monthly above $100, I will get a SHIB tattoo. Just kidding. I will not do that. I don't care. What? The dog? Oh, the dog. Don't know about that one, man. Clifford Enu grows. Holy shit! It's like the whole chat today is just a dog. It's just a fucking dog. Yasha Cliff, Neko, Gizler, Poochie, love you. I hope you've been well, my friend Toxic. Actually, oh no, I did not. NWB, Sand, USD, 4 on daily. Gotcha, man. Here we go. This one's, well, it's a meta derp token. I just got done selling all my NFTs. I'm out of all that liquid shit. Anyways, Sand, very similar to all the other charts that we've seen today. This one actually bouncing ahead of the rest of the market, which is a good sign. Probably looking for this one to head up a little bit further towards just north of $4 or so. I do think that best it does to the upside in this next few weeks is about $4.50, but short term on a 4-hour, do we have a range resolution just yet? Actually, no, we do not. Still won't be had for a little bit more time, to be quite fair. Where would I say that the short-term move to the upside does get essentially unwound would be any sort of an hourly closure, even below about 318 in this case, that spike low that you see from, I guess this is yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. At that point, I would be looking for another retest of your current lows. Again, it's very difficult to kind of talk about the short-term timeframes within the context of this event that we're kind of dealing with right now. So we don't really know what it is thus far, but ultimately I'm looking for something that's obvious here. What is a weekly looking like in this case? Yeah, still more likely to bounce out of this region over the next couple weeks here and probably reach towards mid fours. But I do think that's kind of best case scenario it does to the upside for right now. I would remain long-term bearish on this thing as long as, I mean, macro, if you're talking macro here, I do remain long-term bearish on it as long as you're below this sort of range high, which is just under $7. So that's not happening anytime soon. That would be more than a 2x from where you're working right now. But short term, a little more bouncy. I don't really call a run towards new lows until you do start to close below. And this is not even helpful in this case, but about 280 or so below there on a daily closure. I would look for the next major leg down towards 195 to $2 or so. Sorry, more like $2 in this case. But for right now, I do think that this one's a little more likely to bounce short term. I'd only invalidate bounce short term with the conditions that we spoke about earlier. I'm curious to see also what we're looking like over here. Does momentum still support a little bit more of an upside continuation move on the daily? Yeah, it would. Daily stochastic momentum will be headed north as long as this thing's closing above 304. So I do like that as a pivot, kind of around the earlier areas that we highlighted. 281 for the 12-hour as well. And then I think the 5-day is still nosediving below 583. So again, long-term still corrective at best, but I do think that this one can trade a bit more sideways and up out of this range with those areas in mind, perhaps over the next couple of weeks here. Again, I really want to caution about putting too much weight on my technical analysis in this case, just because we do have a big event here, and that will very likely run the market. So the easy trades, in my opinion, would be $4.50 right here versus taking out the lows at about 280 or so, looking for that continuation play. Until then, short-term time frame ranges, these things are going to ebb and flow and probably play rather nastily here. Anyways, Luke. Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. What's up, Mr. Faulkner Hall? FTM 1-4 and daily up for a bounce, and when is the bot event happening? We don't really have a date on it. I think it just got kind of announced and it's starting to come into the periphery right now. So I heard someone shout out earlier in the comment section that it is due in February. I don't know. Anyways, I believe we looked at this one yesterday. We said very likely another retest of its current lows, which you're kind of getting right now at $2. I think that's pretty much fulfilled right there. I basically have the same thing to say about this one as I did yesterday. Above 255, I'd say correction's over. This one's bullish, looking for targets back up towards $3 plus, probably even just prior all-time highs at 350 in long-term continuation. But within the context of this current price action, I do think that this one does, in comparison to a lot of the other things that we've seen today, look a little bit more relatively weak on the short term specifically. Implying perhaps another run down around about 190 or so. You're very already close to that region, so I don't think that there's too much edge on something like this right now. But ultimately, long term, I want to call this one out simply because it does still have one of the better charts long term, as it does hold the higher lows. But here's the thing: it can hold those higher lows on the daily and still come down to about a $1.70, a $1.60 region, or I guess it's more like a $1.65 to a $1.75 region, and it'd still be another higher low. So I do think that there is certainly a threat of another downside move. If I'm looking at the 5-day right here, I think that it's actually rather likely as well, playing off that short-term bearish divergence right there, and also 5-day jewel turning down, but not giving a downside signal just yet. So if you do see Bitcoin play out a bit of a short-term downside move, I'm looking for this one. Not just hit $2, but what is it, like 190 or something? Yeah, 190 or so. I'd be looking for maybe another short-term bounce right around there, but ultimately for this one to come back down and base around about 165 to 175 region. That's where I'd be looking for on perhaps a long-term. But again, this one doesn't really have an apex coming in until about early May. So at best, I think that you're going to be kind of playing within this range for the next at least another month to 2 months, I'd say. But technically speaking, over the long term, one of the better charts. I'll tell you exactly where I'd get extremely bearish on this one long term, and that would be with a daily closure below 150. Below 150, this one loses structure, very likely initiates moves back down towards its summer lows, or not necessarily summer lows, but its September lows in this case, which is just around $1, just around or slightly below $1. So hopefully that was helpful, sir. All right, cool. I don't think Clifford. Have I done one? No, I've not done one. I'm not sure that Cliffordino has like a question. He's just kind of shouting out a bunch of different shitcoins. So fair enough, man. Got the marketing message. I hope that those work out well for you. Yes, I do see that. But I don't see that like it's a request for anything really. But hey, man, as always, hope that does work out well, and as always, wishing you the best of the best as well, sir. Andrew Mo says, "Hey, Krown, will you give me a rose daily? I will give you 100 roses for 30 minutes, sir." All right, Rose USD. I think we go to this one on Binance, and very similar to Phantom in this case, in the sense that long term, this one is holding up better than most, but corrective long term down to about 23 to 24 cents or so is kind of where I'd be looking for this one to base off of. You do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the 5-day chart right here. That is already confirmed actually. So you've hit the easy target on that in the 21. The next target would be down around about 24 cents, give or take half a cent from that targeted region. If you're on a daily, is this one more likely to bounce first? I kind of have the same thing to say about this as Bitcoin. Is it more likely to bounce first? Actually, and if I look at the 4-hour, this one, no. But where would I say that you actually have a range resolution and thus something to execute? That'd be above 36.85 in this case, and I'd be looking for moves back up somewhere around about 44 cents, maybe even as much as 50 cents, somewhere in this little pocket right here. I'll put a nice little rectangle and get my school drawings out right there. That'd still, of course, be another lower high on even the daily in this case. This one actually hasn't even gotten a daily downtrend just yet, but where would I be looking for? I'm guessing that's going to be around the 6.1. Oh, what do you fucking know? Between the 0.5 and the 618 fib retracement right there. So again, most things in this market, if we didn't have this damn event, I would say it's probably more likely to do this move up first, put in another lower high right there, and then play out the down move. Problem is if news comes out, that fucking news bullshit, that's going to destroy a lot of these setups and look more downside first. And to be fair, on the shorter term timeframes like the 4-hour, you do actually have a bearish setup right here. You do have a slew of lower highs. You got the same lows. That would be a descending triangle, and I imagine the targeted region for that is going to be short term around 26.25. Probably another bounce there. Does it reach down towards the 5-day bearish divergence target after that? Perhaps yes. Maybe after a short-term bounce, but ultimately, I do think that this one corrects down further south before any more long-term continuation of the upside, which is, I think, what you're probably more interested in. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to finish the rest of this coffee. Oh, it's cold. It's not good. It's nasty. Real fucking ugly. Real bad. I think we got Mr. Olak Somani next. He says Ethereum 4-hour on daily. Yeah, we should definitely do that one. Always good to check out one of the market leaders here, of course. Anyways, let's go down to the short-term timeframes here first. Yeah, this one also looking weaker. So maybe I'm wrong about Bitcoin showing a little bit of short-term upside. Yeah, perhaps I am wrong about that. All right, let's actually record this one. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. I believe we did a video on this one yesterday and like to follow up on this one. So yesterday we did say another swipe somewhere around the lows, whether that be between about 2,300 or perhaps all the way down to about 2,200 is likely. And we got that yesterday with that move down just to end the day, or at least for myself over here in Helsinki, Finland in the Eastern European time zone. But right now, showing a little bit of weakness in the short term. Again, we do have a bit of an event-driven market right now, so I would say that the most relevant way to be looking at this is simply from a 4-hour range perspective, and I would say that a 4-hour closure below your spike low from yesterday, 23.13, maybe even just coming back down below there is probably good enough, to be quite honest with you. But if you do see that move happen, I'd be looking for one more retest of your current lows just below 2,200, and then the question is, do we play out our more corrective long-term targets, which I believe is where I believe that is the buy week. Yeah, that would be somewhere down around about 2,000 even, give or take $50 from that number. So a range between about 1,900 to 2,050 or so, or 2,100, something like that. At which point I would be looking for a greater bounce in this case. Keep in mind that we did have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the not on the 5-day, on the bi-weekly chart. Jesus Christ, man, that's rather nasty. So I do think that this one is going to be basing off somewhere a little bit lower, ultimately, kind of similar to Bitcoin as well. But I would call a short-term and actually medium-term range resolution to the upside with any sort of a full hour closure above the same area that we marked off yesterday. In fact, that's exactly where you saw your corrective and rejection coming in from yesterday, just at 27.22. It would be the same area today, and I would say that an hourly closure would also do it as well in this case. And at that point, I would be looking for big bounces back up towards 3,000 to maybe even as much as 3,300 in the following weeks. So with that said, I want to bring it out over here and look at it from a stochastic momentum perspective, just to see if this also kind of agrees with what I'm saying. And let's see, what is the daily looking like right now? The daily is actually up and freshly up and will be remaining with upside momentum as long as it's closing above 2380. So obviously, if the short term and by extension, even the medium term time frame range resolution is to the downside below that validation area that we spoke about, you will see the daily momentum turn down as well. And there will likely be at least one more move lower, somewhere around, let's just say like 1900 to just under 2100, something like that, at which point I'd be looking for another bounce. Keep in mind, volatility rather high right here, so this is corrective at best in my opinion. And then the 5-day, similar to Bitcoin, is also going to have a chance to freshly turn up with any sort of a closure above 2444, but that isn't coming today, it's not coming tomorrow, it's coming on Sunday, I do believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And what happens in between now and then, well, that could be another dagger to the downside. And that's also not to say that it's guaranteed to close above that region. That's just the next sort of validating feature. Right now, it's actually trading below by a decent margin, in fact. So not great. Shorter term timeframes like a 4 hour are already under pressure and will be turning down yet again with any sort of a closure basically here or lower. And that is going to be confirmed in 59 minutes and 13 seconds, basically below 24.15. So if you see that, very likely downside first. Very likely downside first before another try to the upside. Anyways, I think that'll do it for that one. I think we spoke about both the upside and the downside right here. 4 hour actually has a drive of hidden phantom divergence right there. In this case, I don't really trust these particular ones that much, but obviously would be suggesting a little more short-term downside than not. 12 hour is going to be doing what here? Not really giving me anything. Again, same sort of ranges right here. We are still looking corrective based off of our momentum and volatility indicators, and daily, same thing as well, man. So here is the one silver lining, or kind of like a consolation prize on the daily. You will very likely have bullish divergence forming on the next move, but that will imply a lower low close as well. So, the more and more that I kind of go around this market, I do see that there is a threat of another downside move here before a greater bounce. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir. Actually, that reminds me, I need to go check out my own short calls on Ethereum because, well, don't know if I want to hold that exposure coming into next week if we actually do bounce. Anyways, Audie Rings, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Oh, whoops, I'm actually skipping a few people down here. Oh, Mr. Solix Series, bruh. Bruh, seeing that that next date for a large amount of puts to expire is 2 to 18. Do you think the market could struggle to find its bottom until then? Does this correlate with your technical? Let me see. Let me first pull up what you are looking at over here. I believe you're probably pulling this from here. Yeah. Okay, so let me just pull this up into the visual view, and you are saying, okay, the next date for the largest put expiration. So you're looking at this one, right? No, that is well, first off, that's simply not true. It'd actually be March. Today is actually the biggest expiration. Naturally, it's the last Friday of the month. And right now you can see that call interest is massively overshadowing put interest, which typically does, but it's kind of also telling us that the market's still maybe a little bit more optimistic than maybe it should be in this case. You can see that the max paying price is $42,000. That's meaningless in my opinion. What's more meaningful is actually, wow, they're going to let these $40,000 put strike people expire in the money, it looks like. I mean, what, it expires in like two hours here? Huh. Interesting, letting the small guys win today. That's very nice. It's very nice of the market. Anyways, so no, that is actually not correct. The supposition to begin with. The next biggest one would be the quarterlies here and in March. So we can look at the quarterly regulars. I can bring that up and see if that plays into the analysis. Right now, we see a lot of interest on the $50,000 call strike and a lot of interest on the $30,000 put strike. And I'd say that that's about right. If Bitcoin rallies up into the mid to upper $40,000 territory, I still think that these calls, they're probably going to expire worthless. Just like if Bitcoin comes back down to $30,000, I don't think that we're going to have the momentum to break it, at least for like at least for a while. So if Bitcoin does come down around there, very likely bounces. These puts probably expire worthless as well. It's typically what's going to happen. You got a max pain price here at $45,000. That would be basically in the middle of my range for a proverbial bull trap around that time frame as well. Yeah, that would play into it, but it is a little bit early to really be talking about this sort of things. You see that there is actually a decent amount of interest on these comparable to what we're seeing right now in January. So actually, you know what? I actually do think that there probably actually is a good case for that. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Does kind of play into the analysis, but I would just disagree with the date with the dates. That's all. That's all right there. So hopefully that was helpful, man. But good point on bringing that up. I need to start to look into that more because the options market, while it isn't super big, it does seem to really hold a lot of sway in this market. And my theory for that is that the people who are using options in this market, these are professional investors, or at least people with bigger accounts that can move the market. So that's probably why it does hold quite a fair bit of weight. Tom Jordan says, "Hey Krown, what's up, man? I really love your streams. Thanks, man. I love you, sir." Wait, what? You've helped. Hey, Matt. You've helped me become a lot more profitable. That's fucking awesome, man. Sweet. A question: how do traders typically manage their personal finances? Do you pay yourselves a weekly, monthly commission? Okay, so this is always going to be a personal question, right? And everyone's going to do things differently. So right now, if you're asking me personally right now, it's probably not going to be too relatable because I don't really have a need to raise more fiat cash, meaning that I don't really have a need to take any money out of my trading accounts. What I like to do and what I've been doing for the past basically since 2018 is that all of my profits, assuming that there are profits from my trading, goes into actually a cold storage wallet. And I just hold, crypto in that in like a long-term stack that I really have no intention on touching until about 2030. But I can only do that because I don't really have any fiat needs. I've already raised enough before that point. And also, and also to supplement it if needed, I have YouTube here, I have my programs and all that good stuff. So I don't really have that need for liquid cash. Now, if I did have that need for liquid cash, how would I do it? I would do it on a monthly basis. The reason why I do it on a monthly basis is because it can't be too short, like less than a month basically, because if you have a strategy that has like a 60 to 70% hit rate, you might have a bad week. You might just have a bad week, and that's just normal. So you can't really take anything out of it. But on a month basis, your statistics should be a lot more in line with that. So I'll just briefly show you this right here. I've shown this before as well. People seem to really like this. You can obviously do this at any moment in time that you desire yourself, which is kind of funny. No one wants to actually do this work, but this is what I spend my free time doing. This is actually what I spend my free time doing. I spend my free time doing this, which is essentially recording the statistics for my strategies. And in this case, you can see and then I record the averages down here. So in this case, I tested an hourly strategy. The average win for over 100 iterations, which takes about 2 hours to record, by the way. There were 74 wins, so that's about 74% win rate, which is, pretty damn good. The average the average just P&L from that was about 1144. And then I should actually have some, I guess I didn't do it on this one, but I also have that in a percentage format as well. And then I also do that, I think this one's maybe a better example right here. Yeah, so this would be my percentage. Let me actually put that in percentage. So this one had a 1.28% for every win is kind of what I expected. $541, which is not the best way to do it because obviously price action changes are going to, massively change that as well. You can't expect that in 2018 off of this hourly strategy, but it still would likely be a 1.28% on that gainer. 40 wins out of 50 iterations, and then I record the amount of time that it takes for my winning trades to come to fruition, then also my losing trades as well, which I didn't do in this fucking one. The hell, man. Yeah, there we go. And in this case, hey, stop that. And usually, just a funny thing, but usually my losses, my losing trades, they take longer to play out than my winning trades on average. So that's kind of, it's very enlightening to go ahead and do this yourself. But basically my point is that over a month, you can expect these statistics to be, pretty solid. Over a week, a little bit too short, a little bit too short of a time frame right there. So That's actually what I spend my time doing in my free time for the most part. And at some point, I'll probably just release that. So yeah, anyways, cool. Let's see. Let me plot back in over here. And I think we have Mylene Gomes. What's up, Mr. Mylene Gomes? Luna, please, on the 1 and 4 hour. Yep, we can do that one. We haven't looked at Luna in like a few days, actually. Because it's lost its lost its luster here. I'm still bearish on this one. Should we record it? Let me see how many videos I already have for today. Might be too much. The IG scammers are great. Yeah, man. Again, major apologies for all of the hassle on Instagram. I know there's just an endless amount of shitcoins, or not shitcoin scammers, but just scammers presenting to be my name and then trying to get you to do all sorts of weird shit. I apologize about that, man. I know it's fucking annoying. I'm trying to get verified over there, so hopefully that will lessen the effect of it. Until then, you can find my legitimate Instagram account in the link in the description below. I'm also probably not going to DM you there. Sometimes I respond to DMs, but I'm not going to initiate a DM like asking to trade your account. So anyway, just saw that comment out of the corner of my eye. Anyways, all right, so yeah, let's record this one. Here we have Terra Luna symbol LUNA versus the dollar, and I'm still looking at this one as a long-term breakdown here with the targeted region somewhere between about 44 to 46 and a quarter or so before the next like macro bounce in this case. Until then, short-term timeframes like a 4 hour, as you did request, are actually in the process of breaking down right here. It does look like there might be one more bounce back up to $60, maybe even as much as $65, but as long as this thing is below $70, I do look at the path of least resistance as further to the downside. We're looking at the 4 hour momentum oscillators. We see 4 hour BBWP is getting up there, so I don't think that this current move has, you know, doesn't really have the setup to continue from here. It's kind of my take on this one. Probably more likely to bounce in the short term. 4 hour RSI bearish, yes, but short term could be a little bit of a corrective bounce into the shallow 60s. That's fine. Again, my main points on this one is I remain bearish on it below $70 with targets lower. Higher term timeframes like a 5-day are in, I wouldn't say this free fall, but very likely do come down lower somewhere around the 55, which is also in line with that technical target. And weekly could show some more long-term downside. Monthly does have some bearish divergence right there, but I don't trust it too much just yet. And weekly, do we have any bearish divergence right here? Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3 drives coming off the highs, and 5-day, same thing, already confirmed as well. So I do think this one still has lower to go on the higher term timeframes. Short term timeframes might bounce in the interim. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on the higher term timeframes in this case, and the invalidation above $70. Above $70, yeah, we start to talk about big moves back up, somewhere between about $90, maybe even $100. But for right now, I'm a little bit more leaning towards long-term downside continuation before a potential major low has been put in. This is looking like the rolling hills of distribution with the left shoulder head and double right shoulder right here. So I do still think a little bit further down, to be fair. I'm curious to see if it looks the same or has the same sort of indications over here on our stochastic momentum. Let's see what the daily has. The daily is still nosediving below $65.50, which is currently trading more than $12 below right now. So that's not great for short-term bounce. Actually, 2-day is nosediving as well. 5-day is mega wrecked. Weekly is omega wrecked. Yeah, that's not great. So if it does bounce short term, I think it's just that, a bounce. Again, can very easily come back up into the shallow or even mid $60 region and not do really anything of particular note. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for that. Sweet. Nice. Hey, I like this, man. Our lovely community members are actually awareing the new people of the whole way that this thing is gone. This is amazing. This is amazing, man. Oh man, we have such a fucking amazing community. This is fucking incredible. Anyways, you said a 1 and 4. I didn't even look at an hourly, to be honest with you. I just looked at higher term timeframes on a 4 hour. Hourly, if you do see a short-term range resolution above about 55.72, just an hourly closure above there, I would be looking for another target up towards like $58 to $59. To be fair, a little bit unlikely to happen right here. We do see hidden bearish divergence being confirmed yet again, and we do see hourly jewel is already lost its upside curvature, but not necessarily given a downside signal. But with low volatility already, that if it does print another downside signal officially, very likely does lead towards that continuation move. All right, sweet. Connor O'Connor, nice, definitely Irish, certainly Irish. GLMR, please, on a 4 hour and hour. All right, GLMR. Okay. All right. Glimmer. Okay. 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 All that glimmers is not fucking gold, man. Wow. That's a concerning chart. This one's been banned from the moon. So, you just had another redistributive pattern right here, and it's breaking down already. So you're talking about a weak asset in an already weak market with a technical target lower. I don't even know where that is, man. It's like 580 or so. Pretty ugly, man. Heavily bearish as long as you're below 863 on a 4-hour. Even on an hourly, extremely bearish as long as you're below about 780. It's got a lot of work to do, to put it bluntly. You know, if the rest of the market bounces, this thing will very likely bounce with it. I think corrective bounce could very easily come back up into the shallow $7, maybe even as much as 7.25. But I'm heavily bearish on this thing below 780. Yeah, I'll just leave that right there. So again, not great, man. Really not great on this one. Charles McIver, nice, definitely Irish as well. According to Deribit, 55,292 spot 3 Bitcoin options will expire on January 28. Value over 2 billion, which is 36 spot 677 spot 6. Our call options, max paying $42,000. Yeah, the max paying thing really doesn't mean too much in my opinion. It's a misunderstood metric, but it is a big deal that there is a big options expiration today. And when we go back on over here into our current expiration, which we can do exactly that, which is expiring in like, you know, I think just an hour, maybe at most 2 hours. You have to realize that you know, the people who are trading these options, they've likely rolled their positions already coming into, you know, into like probably starting off in the last couple of weeks. So the people who are holding them into expiration, you've probably seen the majority of the move that was anticipated for that. That was likely your move towards $39,000. I think it was 2 days ago. So in this case, you know, you're about to see actually a lot of, I mean, you're gonna see most calls expire absolutely fucking worthless, as they should, and actually the put bar is looking like they're actually gonna be okay here, which is usually most options expire worthless, to be fair, but in this case, all good, I guess. So I don't really have much to make out of it. I think that you see the result of these moves about a week or two before the expiration, because once you hold them into, like, you know, the last few days into expiration, they're just premium, and it's basically all premium is what it is. It's kind of worthless for the most part. Just my opinion right there. Anyway, Shane says, "Hey Krown, hope you're having a great day." Thanks, man. You as well. Do you ever use Japanese charts, or would you ever say there's a use for them? What the fuck? Japanese charts? You ain't heard of Pearl Harbor? What are Japanese charts, man? I don't know. Like, you talking about candles? Yeah, I use candles, but I don't know what you mean by Japanese charts. Do you mean like the Ichimoku cloud? I'm guessing based off its name, it is Japanese. Hey. I actually just watched a World War II documentary. It was fucking amazing, man. Man, the Japanese in World War II were absolutely vicious, but you gotta have a lot of respect for them too, man. They were total fucking warriors. Anyways, I don't know what you mean by Japanese charts, or at least if you mean like just Japanese indicators, I know, except for candles, which I don't really put too much weight on anyways. If you mean looking at the yen pairings, I actually do look at that, and that actually does matter quite a fair bit. Mattered a lot more in the past, in my opinion, but where is it? I know I have it around here somewhere. At least I used to have it around here somewhere. Let me see. Let's actually see. Bitcoin versus yen on Flyer is where you want to go to if you want to see this. The yen chart used to trade a lot more technically than the US dollar charts back in 2018, so I'd pay a lot more attention to it. It just, you know, whenever you saw an indication right there, it was like it was kind of a bigger deal. Are we seeing the same thing over here? It actually would be suggesting a little bit more of a local low being put in right here, with targets back up towards what I'm guessing is akin to about $40,000 or so. You know, but I don't even know if that's what you mean to begin with. So hard to differentiate without more specific, without a more specific conversation there. Well, no, I'm not going to do an interview with Richard Hart. I'm not the person to do an interview with Richard Hart. I actually like Richard Hart as a person just because, like, he's so fucking interesting to listen to, but he's so persuasive and charismatic that for someone like me who's highly suggestible, I just say, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And I don't know enough of the, you know, underlying dynamics of his projects to really, you know, do a good interview that would have like some sort of value in it. I'd basically just be promoting this stuff without actually knowing. And I like this is not the channel for that, man. This is just not the channel for that. I look at charts. I can talk about charts, but I can't talk about the fundamentals of a project. I can only say that when fucking Pulse, man, shit was supposed to be out like months ago. And for anyone wondering, yes, I actually did sacrifice to that. So you can't hate me, Hex Crew. You can't hate me, but yeah, it is pretty fucking silly. Seems like people would start to get skeptical after, you know, hey, just a month until Pulse, right? But like that was fucking 6 months ago. Or 5 months ago, whatever it was. Speak Needs says Elsa's Prada support the labs. Yes, she could desperately use it too, man. Stylix here says, follow up on my last question. Okay, can you look at triple Qs? Yes. Can I look at triple Q's put expiration? Oh, no, I don't have that information for myself. I used to be able to pull that up because, you know, I'd have like access to that information via like LiveVol or MJT, but I don't have those subscriptions any longer, so I can't comment on that now. I can comment on the chart. Well, if you tell me which is the most heavily traded put strike right now, I can tell you which ones are probably going to expire worthless. But if I'm just looking at the chart right here, you're getting very close to a bouncy area, but probably a little bit lower first, 320 to 320 to 330-ish region. At that point, I'm looking for bounces coming into February. I don't really have much to add on to other than that. It's very difficult to get like some serious downside when you got a lot of put, lot of put interest. Usually they're going to expire worthless. Shane says, regards to Japanese charts, that's not a fucking Japanese chart, man. No, I don't use Heikin-Ashi. No, I don't use Renko. No, I don't use line break. I don't think line break is Japanese. At least I wouldn't think so, but whatever, man. No, I don't use that. I don't really care about these sorts of things. Doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just, it's not for me, man. People seem to have this weird idea, and I'm not saying this like as like a mean thing. It's just people seem to have this like weird idea that if you don't use something, it's not valuable. It's like, no, man. Like my trading's very, 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 very simple. My trading is really fucking simple. I'll show you exactly what I do. Well, I won't show you exactly what I do, but I'll show you my chart that I use to trade. It's this right here. I have 3 indicators on. Moving averages, BBWP for volatility, PMARP. That's it. So it doesn't mean that other indicators aren't worthwhile. I find a lot of value in the Joule. I found a lot of value in the RSI. I found a lot of value in stochastic momentum as well. And I do have strategies for those things, but for right now, no, I don't use that. Nor do I use Heikin-Ashi, Renko, line break, but they are all valuable in their own way if you can find a strategy to coincide with them. I do not have those strategies, however. So don't let my basically what I'm trying to say is like, don't let my sort of analysis or my sort of style mean that that's not valuable. It is valuable. I mean, I know plenty of people who use specifically Heikin-Ashi in Forex land who quite like it, but it's not for me. It doesn't have a place nor value in my strategies. Anyways, let's see. Speak Needs says ANT weekly daily for Moise. He's broke. All right, fair enough. Okay, symbol ANT. Well, he might be more broke if he keeps on fucking DCing into bullshit like this. But let's see. Weekly daily. Well, terrible on the weekly, and terrible on the daily. Relatively weak in an already weak market. That is not fucking good. But is it in a bouncy area? I think it's more in a bouncy area than not. I don't think this one has like too much lower to go before you get a nice bounce back up towards like $6.85 to maybe even $7.50. And long term, it is kind of trending to the upside. But this to me just looks like a pump and dump, man. Not great. No rallies get sustained. Plays in these humongous ranges. Here's what the log chart looks like. You will have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the monthly here. So if I want to give you like the doomium upon doomium, the next monthly closure you see below about 375, I'd be looking for this one to retrace all the way back down to $1.50 or so. And at some point probably does do that. But for right now, short term, is it more in a bouncy area and can it bounce back up towards $7? Yeah, very easily. Very, very easily. I would not call it downside continuation anytime soon as long as you're above about let's call it $3.50 on a daily closure, or a monthly below about 375. Until then, I'm just looking for this one trade a bit more sideways right here, and then probably try a bounce. Shorter term timeframes, which I don't think that you're interested in based off your question. Yeah, I'm not even getting much from this anyways. It's already pretty damn weak, man. It's going to require a very strong broad market to get going, and even then, I mean, it's had no sustained rallies ever essentially. So I wouldn't expect this one to be the first one, right? Hey, what's up, Jack? Ethereum Bitcoin? Yeah, we haven't looked at this one in a while. I imagine this one's completely wrecked. Let's see. 6.5 million Satoshis. Not great right there. Coming all the way down to the weekly 55. I would probably be looking for bounces around the weekly 55, which is a little bit lower. 5 days probably where you're at right now. Yeah, but that's not really bottoming behavior just yet. So I do think that this one likely does reach a little bit lower first. Maybe like 6.25 million or so Satoshis. I'd be looking for bounces there. But then the problem is that this one's completely lost structure here for a while. You have multiple drives of bearish divergence on the weekly. I'm curious what the monthly looks like. Yeah, not great on the monthly now. This is not the move you want to see. Barring any sort of heroic closure above like 7.5 million Satoshis before the end of the month, which is coming in about 3-4 days, you know, you're going to have 1-2 drives of bearish divergence right there. Probably trade slower into February, actually, with a base at around 5.5 million Satoshis or so. Let's see. You also asked about a 4-hour time frame. Trending down right here, you do have many drives of bullish divergence building up, but man, I wouldn't be the first person to play these right now just yet, man. At least until the 4-hour time frame is resolved. In this case, that'd be right here. I would actually even just use a spike high right here at about 7 million Satoshis above there. Yeah, I could look for a nice rally up towards 7.4 to 7.5 million Satoshis. That would look really, really good if it came before end of month here. Until then, you know, short-term bounces still likely look like one more drive to the downside. You also will naturally have some bullish divergence building up on the daily as well, but again, that will imply that you do have, you know, another lower low closing here. So again, corrective move as indicated by the BBWP. The big indication was back on over here when it broke below about 7.8 million Satoshis. That was our big area for this one. Ever since then, it's, you know, well, kind of speaks for itself. But yeah, man, kind of definitely a harbinger of death and despair right here too. You know, because this was certainly one of the better looking charts for the long term until that criteria was met, and well, now you can see why. So not great. So hopefully that was helpful, man. You're closing the chats. Elsa's shutting it down. All right. Elsa just learned about the fish fillet at McDonald's. Okay, let's see. I think we have a few more right here. Mr. Aberfillin says, longtime viewer, but never make the live streams. Hey, well, welcome, man, and good to be speaking with you now. Really, hey, thanks, man. Yeah, man, this is like the highlight of my day, man. I'm having fun. Cis USD daily and weekly. Gotcha. Okay. SYS, the fillet of fish. How do you explain to a foreigner what fillet of fish is? It's. She said, I saw a picture and it looks gross. This one looks quite toppy right here on the weekly. 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence, also a head and shoulders on weekly RSI. Likely does reach down somewhere around about 66 to 67 cents before the next bounce, but I'm not, I probably wouldn't call that a major low, to be honest with you. Just a bounce. What's happening here, or the sort of more concerning thing that's happening here, is that you are getting a bit of a swing failure pattern on your macro breakout, which is not a good sign usually. Usually indicates a more prolonged corrective movement. Monthly, you know, long term, this one does have a nice uptrend, yes, but it could come all the way down to well below 50 cents and still maintain that long-term uptrend. So let's go back to a daily over here. Is it more likely to bounce in the short term? Kind of similar to Bitcoin, you know, I'm very hesitant to call any short-term moves with this event kind of looming overhead. If it does have an upside bounce, I would be looking somewhere around $1, somewhere around $1, but that would be your next lower high. It actually does not have a lower high just yet. It only has a lower low, so that would be your confirmed reversal. Let me just see if this works, or sorry, if this kind of aligns with that region. Yep, between about 98 cents to $1.05. It's kind of where I'd be looking for on a bit of a, what's it called? On a bit of a throwback before further continuation to the downside. I do think that this one, alongside most things in this market, correct further to the downside over the next few months here before trying any more sustained long-term upside. The next sort of weekly bounce region, about 65 cents. I would not say that I'm looking for a macro low there, to be honest with you. With this many drops of bearish divergence come off the highs, going all the way back on over here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 plus formation, plus weekly jewel also. I do think that longer term, this one probably does reach for about 50 cents or somewhere around there. Yeah, and that's actually in line with the monthly as well, which the monthly will have bearish divergence here as well, with confirmed local high here, which it actually doesn't have just yet, so fair enough. 5-day. The question is, short term, is it bouncy or not? I think, I do still think that things are a little bit more on the bouncier side on the short term, but you know, I just don't trust tentacles right now with these events kind of overhead. Just not high hit rate in my experience. Anyways, Mr. Shekhar says, morning, sir. What's up, man? Matic 1 4 hour and daily. Pin my message. Pin my message. My message. Pin it. Where's my damn cursor? I'm trying to find your message. Trying to find message. Where is it? Oh, there we go. I see it. All right. Pin my message. Goodbye. That's what she said. That's what Elsa says. That's her new thing. She goes, no, I will not. Goodbye. It's like, what the fuck? All right, Matic. Sure. Matic 1 4 and daily. Okay, let's go over here. It's gonna have a better bounce than most, actually. Short-term time frames, like a 4 hour, we do have a very obvious range going on right here. I don't necessarily think that we need all these damn lines in the charts, but the most pertinent one for this would be about 175.5. Even on a 4 hour closure above there, I do look for this one to play a nice move to the upside, actually, between about 192 to $2 or so. Problem with that is that would be just another lower high on the daily, and that's where things start to get a little more nasty, obviously. So, you know, short term, if you do see a validation above there, you know, that is like a 15 to 20% move, which is rather significant. Where would I call no bounce, or bounce canceled first and then downside first? Well, below yesterday's spike low at 150 would obviously be concerning and at least imply another move down to about 140 or so. Would I blindly just call continuation after that? I don't know, actually. Let me go to a weekly here. I mean, no, this one's still in a bouncy. I still think that this one probably bounces first to the upside and then perhaps long-term continuation of the maybe continuation of the downside after that. But this one's stronger than most. This one's having a much better bounce than most right now, so I put it in the relatively strong camp. Hourly, not great, but I'd actually use the same resolution point on an hourly, to be fair. 175. Above 175 on even an hourly closure, I would say this one very likely bounces up somewhere around $2 first and then come back to it after that. 5 day. Yeah, I do think this one's more bouncy than not. Monthly as well. Problem with the monthly is that you will confirm bearish divergence and maybe even a bearish engulf. Sorry, actually not a bearish engulfing, but you will confirm bearish divergence below about 140 or so, which would imply a target back down somewhere around about $1 into maybe March, something like that. Anyways, Lance says, BSC Grimace coin. What? A McDonald's coin? Wait, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Oh my god, it's one of these. Oh, fuck. All right, well, let's do it. Okay, no, we're not doing DEX tools. No, we're not doing that bullshit. We'll only do trading view. Okay, thank you. We're checking out 3.5 million market cap. So we're talking about the shittiest of shit coins. We're talking about the gutter. It's been around for 3 days. I don't have an analysis on this thing, man. My analysis is that it's probably going to be very bad. But I don't have a real analysis on this, man. I'm sorry. I don't have anything worthwhile or valuable to say. Not enough history right here, and I will not go on DEX tools or PooCoin chart. I'm only operating on TradingView here, just because, you know, TradingView has all my tools and everything. So if I go over there, I'm not going to have that. Just I would only be looking at trend anyways. But not yeah. I apologize. It's not very helpful. If you want to ask about something else, we can do that, but can't really bring up that one. Anyways, no, you just got rid of the last one right there. Would you take? Oh. All right. Well, fair enough. Okay. Okay. Edwin's generation. He says EGLD. Man, there was a lot of obsession over this piece of highly esteemed technology in the last few months here, but no one cares about it now. No. Oh. And that's your real chart. More at a bouncier in the higher term timeframes than not, but you know, let's just go through the 4 hour, because the 4 hour is probably the easiest one to get out right now. Look, 4 hour closure above 150, and I look for this one to go on a nice little rally. This one can even rally quite hard in the short term. Short term targets up to 169, 170 would be rather likely. Maybe even continues up to 200 to 210. I mean, definitely possible, but this is dog shit right here, just falling off like this. It's really bad, but short term is a bouncy. Yeah, probably a little bit more than not. I'd be using this again as my sort of confirmation of that, I suppose. Below 120, below 130 on a 4 hour closure, I'd say bounces are canceled. This one is being sent back down to very likely its summer lows after that in the following month or two. Nice hair. You ever straighten it? I tried brushing it for the first time last night. Didn't go well. Not doing that again. It was a terrible idea, man. Terrible idea. Okay, I see Scuba Mama says Vula ASX, or is that on ASX? Okay, I'm guessing I'm gonna try this one first, or hold on, Vula ASX. Okay, I'm gonna guess it's probably Vul on ASX. Just for next time. All right, long term. All right, I'm gonna guess that means a weekly or a monthly to you. Fucking awful. I do think that you're coming into a bouncy area, maybe a little bit lower at about $7.50. You're probably going to try to bounce into February, but any bounce that just fails to get back above 12.25 is just setting up for a long-term downside continuation. This is a parabolic blow off top, and I do expect that longer term, this one reaches towards somewhere around about 6.5, maybe even as low as about 5.5 before it's all said and done, and potentially puts in a macro low. So yeah. Mr. Dr. Roxco says Harmony long term. That is symbol W or O-N-E. O-N-E. W symbol W. There we go. Whoa! Oh man, what happened right there? I'm gonna guess 1, 2, 3 drives of regular bearish evidence, probably heading down towards 11 cents or below 11 cents over long enough time horizon. But daily, I don't know if that's long enough for you. Daily, do you bounce off this region first from your summer lows, or sorry, your December lows actually, not even your summer lows in this case? Perhaps yes. I would say that you do initiate and can invalidate a daily bounce first before long-term continuation of the downside with any sort of a daily above 21 and change, with targets up somewhere around about 26, maybe as much as 28 cents. But long-term, I do think that this one has more further downside to go. So kind of as the rest of the market. I do think there's a few more things pointing towards short-term bounciness, but long-term, wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these things come down further. Yeah, monthly probably down around about 11 to 12 cents within the next 4 to 5 months, I'd imagine. That's at the point where maybe we see like a macro low. Anyways, Glimmer, we already got that one from Mr. Dan Charest. Nice. And we just did one right here too. It's like you just got both of them. Nice. Sweet. JJ Liberman says, thanks, Krown. No problem, man. I de-risked and just waiting in USDT. Do you think okay strat right now? I don't know what your strategy is. How could there's no possible reason why that I could comment on that, man. I have no idea what your strategy is. So why do I think Cadena to $1? Because it looks like this. Mostly. Pretty awful chart. I do think it's more likely to bounce first though. So there's that. And hey, if the bounce brings you back above about $15, no, I would say that this one's going to be super bullish again. But I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think that's what's happening, man. When you go to the moon, you typically come back down to the doom, and this is a pretty awful chart. I wouldn't say $1 though. Maybe more like $2. I think is more reasonable. So I would actually adjust that. I'm not that bearish, I guess. I think more like and also 350 to 350 to 375 should be a bouncy area as well. So one before the next, man. I would not say $1 is relevant anytime soon. Tiffany would like H bar on a daily and longer term. All right. Thank you for that, Nikki. Let's see. All right. Well, we got another shitcoin of a chart here now, don't we? Really, really nice. Really fucking nice. Again, more into a bouncy area than not. Long term, bounce is not the same thing as reversal. It's kind of already hit a lot of the downside targets you would have expected. Herderpa hash graph. What the fuck is this thing? Bounces can very easily come back up to even 27 cents. But I'd be long-term bearish on this thing and look for a long-term downside as long as you're below about 34 cents. I guess I've already charted this one out, but that's basically my major area for this one right here. Until then, short-term bounces are just corrective with long-term downside implied, but could very easily pop back up to a quarter, maybe even as much as 27 cents. But again, that's kind of where I draw the line on this one. Above 34 cents is again where I become very, very bullish on this thing. I think that's a little bit unlikely, but that would be my criteria for that if you are very long term, like you do say. Frivolous says, Polis, 4-hour high and low, please. Okay, all right. Polis, huh? What is this thing? It's on FTX. Can't be that bad. It's fucking bad. 4-hour and low. Okay, 4-hour. Again, most of this market has the same sort of price action on the short-term time frames. 4-hour closure above 273, and I look for this one to pop back up towards 290 or so. Hourly, Same thing. Where do I invalidate short? It's not even well. It's the move up hasn't been validated to begin with, so can't really talk about that. But I would validate a short-term downside move or continuation move here with any sort of an hourly closure below 259, with targets back down towards your 26th of January wick lows, somewhere around about $2.50 or so. Forrest says, morning, BTR, better late than never. Oh, I see. I'm starting bid now. Hey, good morning to you, man. Just a nice positive message. I wish well for you, sir. Michael S says, VGX weekly, monthly, asking for a friend. Oh boy. It's for my friend. Weekly and month. Well, just when you thought you saw the worst chart of the day, Voyager comes into the picture like this. Not fucking good, man. Not fucking good. Both weekly and monthly, pretty awfully wrecked. There is nothing bullish about the chart at all whatsoever, as long as this thing's below about $4. That doesn't mean that if the rest of the market bounces, this thing probably will bounce with it. It probably will, you know, $2.50 to $2.90 maybe at best. But long term, I would expect nothing different than what you've seen for the totality of this thing's history, which goes back a whole year and a half. Yeah, not great right there, man. I think that you already know that though. Zeko says, hey man, can you check out Sand? Yep, we already did that, so all good there. Crypto Med says, hola sir, what's up man? Axie, yeah. Actually, we haven't looked at Axie in a long time, man. I dread to see where this one's at. Holy shit, this one's already down at the weekly 55. Blue box has been hit. So the hopium rate, or sorry, the hopium is that the LARP lines now play out and you bounce into the next few weeks here. But wow, this one came all the way down to a, holy shit. I was not expecting that target to get hit, to be honest with you. That is a fucking hell of a one. Anyways, 4-hour India. All right. I'm going to guess on a 4-hour, you're not even showing too many signs of a bounce right here. Do I want to redo this chart? But it's so beautiful with my LARP lines. I would say you will confirm or validate a nice bounce with a 4-hour closure above $54.50 with targets up, you know, at least to $60, but probably more like $65. That would still just be corrective on the daily here, obviously. I mean, shit, man, the daily can rally all the way up to like $80 and still look god awful. Weekly, again, you're more in a bounce area than not. Where would I call downside continuation of majorly new lows? It's not going to be too helpful, but a 4-hour closure below about 44.70. In that case, I am looking for, I guess another move down to like 35 to $40. Pretty ugly, man. Pretty ugly. The way you go up is the way you come down typically, and this one just zoomed to the upside without any real consolidations, except for this area right here, to be fair. And I imagine you're going to do the same thing to the downside as well. Crypto, nope, we just got that one. Hey, what's up, Sebastian Gwynn? Express, is that you? How dare you? PLYN. Actually, I've actually been to a few of his shows. This must be a stock. I'm actually much more happy to be looking at a stock, but I've actually been to a few of his shows. I think that he's actually one of the best performers I've seen in my life. Wow, not great here on the monthly. I know you didn't ask about it, but this would be more long-term toppy. This thing can very easily rally back up towards like $28 to $29 in the next few weeks, maybe. But I'm quite bearish on this thing below, especially like $30.50, with targets long-term lower towards 23 to 24 bucks. That's where I'd be looking for the next like major bounce, to be fair, and very long-term. You know, I'd be expecting bases maybe between there and about 20.75 or so. Hey guys, we shut down the super chats a while ago. I apologize. I apologize if we're not going to be able to get to you, but we do have to be a bit more stringent with when we shut those down, so that you know, we remain on time here. I apologize again. I know it's very annoying, but we do have to be a bit more stringent with that. So unfortunately, we won't be able to read any of the super chats after that pinned message was posted. But yeah, man, basically a long way of saying Mr. Sebastian, short term, you know, could very easily bounce here. I think this one even does bounce. Might even trade back up towards $30, but not calling this one the next major macro low just yet. I'll put it that way. I do think this one eventually comes lower, somewhere around 23 to 24, and that's an area where I think you might see a major low. So this is some sort of a REIT, so a real estate. Oh, nice. All right, REIT's coming down. It's good for me. Crypto Med, the last one of the day, saying Sol 4-hour and daily. Sure, man. All right, ending it with Solania. What? No, I think we'll end the Jewel Light in like the first or second week of February. We'll have to talk with Mr. Mournfall first. That's his call. What are you looking like here on Solanium? Very similar setup to the other ones, a little bit more weaker in the short-term time frames. So basically do the same thing as I did yesterday, although we don't need all these damn lines here. But here, you know, or basically the same thing on all the charts that we looked at today. Above 104 and a quarter, I do look for this one to have another corrective bounce, continuation up to about 120 to 130-ish region. Anywhere around there is fine. That is still, of course, another lower high on the daily. Actually, this one can even rally quite a fair bit, maybe even all the way up to 140 to 150, depending upon where a daily closure happens. But you know, where did I call it downside continuation? I guess a 4-hour closure below about 85.5 bucks. At that point, I'm looking for this one much further down towards 70 to 70, 75, or I guess. Kind of crazy, man. Yeah, this one, again, went to the moon, you know, comes back down to earth. The way you go up is the way you come down. The way you go up is the way you come down. Again, I do think that the market's a little bit more likely to bounce within these regions than not. I mean, the market's like, it's been pretty fucking beat up to the downside. You know, it wouldn't be asking too much to get a bounce here, but still, that's why I have validations. And of course, with the event coming in later, to, maybe today, who knows when the fuck it actually comes out. It sounds like it's going to be more so in February. You know, the market's probably going to run off of that. So that's why I'm just marking off of ranges. And I really am, you know, stepping away from making directional calls right now on price action. Just I don't think it's appropriate, nor is it going to be high probability. It's going to be more guessing than not. Sweet, man. And girls as well, as we have several of them in the chats. Beautiful. And Philson's here too. What's up, man? And non-binaries as well. That's exactly right. Make sure to put your pronouns in your bio, please. Anyways, in a more respectful manner, I do want to wish everyone the best for this nice week of price action. It's been a pretty opportunistic week actually, but ultimately, I do think that there are a few more easy trades to probably be had into this next early portion of February, and that's pretty much the purpose of today's video. So hopefully we got that out in the most clean and clear sense. And with that in mind, I'll be signing off now. I want to wish you the best. Stay safe. Remember that no position is a position, and sometimes it's the best position, especially if you do not know or do not have a great idea of what to do. It's pretty much what I'm doing right now, actually, as well. Anyways, with that said, take care. Saluting you, and Elsa's waving to you because she loves you. See you in the next one.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it,